Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. And I want to say Shalom to Akman Akwat out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's kind of a re-response, not really a response, but like a what do you call it? A continuation almost of the lesson that I did, a day ago, called Trusting in the Lord and Not Leaning into Your Own Understanding. It's not really necessarily connected in any way, but I feel like those two topics go together, decently well. Because in it, I mentioned, trusting in the Lord and not leaning into your own understanding. And then I mentioned prayer as well. But I wanted to touch on more on prayer, all right, and, faith specifically, prayer and faith, and prayer with faith, as this lesson is titled, pray with faith, or prayer with faith, or praying with faith, however you want to view it. It could be any of those names. I was going to call it praying with faith, but pray with faith works fine. Actually, no, I am going to title it praying with faith, okay? And so that's the name of the lesson, praying with faith. And we're just going to jump right into it, man, because the first scripture I want to get is, do I want to do it in order? I think I do want to do it in order. Yeah, because you got to get the definition, man, to understand. All right. So this is Hebrews 11:1. Now it says the triumphs of faith, okay? Verse 1, it says, now faith, because in order to understand this lesson, you have to understand what the definition of faith is. What is faith? Okay, people constantly, the Christians constantly talk about sin, and they don't know the definition of sin. All right, sin is what? The transgression of the law. The Bible tells us that. All right, whoever transgresseth the law also committeth sin, for sin is the transgression of the law. Roughly paraphrasing, right? So you need to do the same to understand what faith is. Now here it is in Hebrews 11:1. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Okay? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Okay? So you're not always going to see things, all right? But you have, faith, you have belief, all right? Belief, all right, that these things that, you hope for will come true. In verse 2, it says, for by it the elders obtained a good report. It says, through faith, we understand that Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Yahweh, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. It says, by faith, Abel offered unto Yahweh a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Yahweh testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith, Enoch was translated. So it's giving you the accounts of, several, righteous men. Okay. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death and was not found, because Yahweh had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased Yahweh. But without faith, it is impossible, to please him. For he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Okay, and we'll read one more. It says, by faith Noah, being warned of Yahweh of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. We're going to continue on. It says in verse 8, by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. He trusted in the Lord, right? It says, by faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. Okay? And then you can continue on, right? You can continue on. So there, faith never failed any of these, righteous men, and it mentions Sarah down here at some point, right? Right? So it meant, basically righteous men and women never failed by, using faith. Okay. And like it says, for by it the elders obtained a good report. The people that came before you have obtained good things, or a good report because of it. Okay? And you have to believe, like it says in verse 6, but without faith it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So you have to believe, okay? You have to believe, all right, as we're going to get in James 1 and 8 in just a moment. But you have to believe, because if you don't believe, you're done, man. You know, you have to believe. All right, now let's go. I'm actually curious what the word faith means here. All right, faith.
Strong's G 4102. Pistis.
All right, pistis. All right, faith. It says what? Assurance, belief. All right, belief. Them that believe. All right. It says conviction of the truth of anything, belief in the New Testament of a conviction or belief respecting man's relationship to Yahweh and divine things, generally with the included idea of trust and holy fervor, like fervent, right? I would suppose, born of faith and joined with it. Let's see, fervor, all right?
Fervor.
Yeah, intense and passionate feeling. Okay, so like fervent, right, or fervent. All right, or however you pronounce that word. It says, relating to Yahweh, it says the conviction that Yahweh exists and is the creator and the ruler of all things, the provider and bestower of eternal salvation through Hamashiach. Okay, relating to Hamashiach, a strong and welcome conviction that belief that Yahweh Shai is the Messiah, through whom we obtain eternal salvation and the kingdom of Yahweh. Okay, so there you go. Fidelity, faithfulness. Okay, so you see it. Ooh, like you. Strong's definition: persuasion, credence, moral conviction of religious truth or the truthfulness of Yahweh or a religious teacher. All right. Especially reliance upon Hamashiach for salvation. So there you go. You know, trusting and belief. All right, you have to believe. If you pray for something, all right, you have to, you know, going back to verse 6. Let's get down here. Where was it? Right. But without faith it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So you have to believe that he's a rewarder. If you don't, that's not trust. Okay, you have to trust and you believe. You have to believe. You have to have faith. Faith, believe. All right. So let's go and get James 1 and 1 through 8. All right, which is going to further give us more edification on this topic, Lord willing. All right, so James 1 and 1, it says, and we're going through what? Verse 8? Okay. James, a servant of Yahweh and of Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. And the title of this one is Testing Your Faith. It says, oops. Why not scroll me down to the bottom? It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. All right, you might go through certain things. All right, as of recently, I've been going through this strange illness. All right, and I'm not necessarily sure what it is, but I've just been praying, right? And it says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. All right, it boosts your faith. It gives you, you know, you learn more patience to go through things, and, you know, just go through them, all right, and just wait on the Lord, all right, instead of, you know, jumping the gun and trying to do something yourself. So it just gives you more. It's a faith booster essentially going through these things, right? And it's not fun to go through them. You can't, you know, say that it's great to go through them. All right, I mean, it's good to go through them, but it's not fun to go through them. It doesn't feel great, of course. You'd rather feel better, but they're good for us in a way, because they help us learn patience, all right, and they strengthen us in the long run, all right. It says in verse 4, it says, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahweh, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So if you're having struggles with faith, if you're, you know, you're trying to pray, you're trying to believe, and you're having issues, all right, then ask the Lord, all right, to give you some faith, to give you some wisdom, all right, to let you overcome those things, and send that prayer out, all right, with the little bit of faith that you do have. Okay. It says, but let him ask, and like right here is the real kicker. It says, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So you have to believe that the Lord is going to help you. You can't have a situation where you're and we've all been guilty of this. I've been guilty of this, and the demons will try to get you. All right, and I mentioned it in this lesson the other day. You'll have demons saying, "Oh, he's not going to help you. He's not going to help you. What if you get worse? What if you get sicker? What if you get this or that? All right, what if this thing you're praying about doesn't happen? All right, you'll have those demons that'll come and try to do those things, but you got to try to rebuke those things to the best of your ability through Yahweh Shem Yahushua and continue moving on. All right, but you can't have unbelief that the Lord's, the Lord's going to help me. Maybe He won't. You can't do that. All right, you have to believe that He is going to help you, and He will help you as long as you believe that He's going to help you. Okay, now it's not always going to be instantaneous. All right, that's another thing you got to realize. If you're praying because you're sick or ill, just because you pray doesn't mean it's going to be taken off you just instantly like that. Now a lot of the times it will be. All right, a lot of the times it won't be. Okay, it's all through the Most High. There's a reason for things that we're going through, for times and for a season. All right, and sometimes you might feel like sick, and you might, for example, you might pray, and for example, if you're getting like really dizzy or something like I've had, you'll pray and the dizziness will go away. It doesn't mean that necessarily that affliction is going to be taken off of you. All right, entirely at that moment. It will be because you prayed for it to be removed from you. That doesn't mean that that day even that it'll be removed from you, but it'll be removed in time. But the Lord will give you a temporary easement, all right, a rest, if you will, from that dizziness that you're going through. So let's get bear with me just 1 minute. All right, we're back. So slack you for that. So it says in verse I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you gotta believe, like it says, and back in verse 6 again, it says, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. What is wavering? We gotta get what wavering means. Most of you should know what wavering means. It's just not in 1 foot in, 1 foot out. All right, if I could speak. It says, let's go and get the word.
Strong's G 1252. Diakrino.
All right, diakrino. Now it's in James 1, so we got to go and see what it means. Right here. All right, to be at variance with oneself, hesitate, doubt. Okay, hesitate, doubt. You can't hesitate in this truth, man. All right, you can't be at variance. What is variance? All right, variance is what? Variance. All right. Discrepancy. All right. Conflicting. All right. Disagreeing or quarreling. He's gonna help me. No, he won't. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. That's variance. All right. And you don't want that, because if you're at variance with oneself when you're praying, you're at variance with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, because you're doubting the Lord. All right. And that's a wicked thing to do. Okay. So you gotta pray to the Lord that you don't do those things. All right. And we've all been guilty of it because we're all sinful. All right. None of us are perfect. All right. We don't just sit in here and meditate and levitate in the air. All right. We don't do that. All right. We're men too. All right. We go off and, constantly on a daily basis. So, and we try not to, but we do. All right. Because we're in the sinful flesh. And I don't mean sin is in the fact of, we go off by, doing terribly wicked things, smoking weed or, committing some crazy, weird sexual act. None of those things like that. All right. But things like doubt, that's a sin. All right. On Sabbath, we can't keep it perfectly. We might have to buy something out because of work or however it works. Work. There's another thing. You're not supposed to be working. That's a sin. All right. You're supposed to be put to death for working on the Sabbath. Okay. And that's why it's so great that we have Yahweh Shem Yahushua's mercy. And because we can't be perfect. All right. We can't keep the Mosaic law perfectly, but we can keep it to the best of our ability. All right. Remember, the ultimate goal is to offend less. All right. To offend less. So let's go ahead and get let's get 1 Thessalonians. Did I copy it? I don't remember. I did. Absolutely. Call all Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So 1 Thessalonians 5 and 17 reads, pray without ceasing. Okay. Pray without ceasing. Okay. Ceasing is what? Okay. It says right here, without intermission, incessantly, without ceasing. So without intermission, stopping, all right, stopping, without stopping, all right, uninterruptedly, okay, so you're constantly praying, all right, you might be praying in your head as you're out and about, you might be praying, at your house, you might be, before you eat, you pray, before you leave the house, you pray, when you wake up, you pray, before you go to bed, you pray, right, should be at least, all right, we're not all perfect at it, like I said, I'll be the first to call myself out, I fall asleep a lot of the time before doing it, all right, which isn't a good thing to do, okay, so, and that's my fault. So like I said, but I'll be the first to call myself out. I'm not going to act like I'm, better than I am. And, but that's how we're supposed to be doing it. All right. Praying and all, before we eat something, before we drink something. All right. Hell, at work, before you walk into work, you never know what type of crazy people are there or going to be there. Right. So we got to pray. We got to have faith. All right. We got to trust in the Lord. Okay. And, while we're at it. All right. Cause I want this lesson to be a little bit longer. I want to go ahead and, at this halfway point, I want to go ahead and pull up the Bible Gateway, and I want to actually get some of these scriptures in the Good News Translation as well. Okay, so we're going to go to, this is Hebrews 11 in 1 and 6 in the Good News Translation. Talks about faith. All right, and we're just going to actually get verse 1. We're just going to get verses 1, 2, and 3. All right. It says, verse 11, it says, to have faith is to be sure of the things we hope for, to be certain of the things we cannot see. It was by their faith that the people of ancient times won Yahweh's approval. It is by faith that we understand that the universe was created by Yahweh's word, so that what can be seen was made out of what cannot be seen. All right, it's like you. Let's go and get James 1 and 1 through 8. This whole chapter is going to be fire, I'm sure. Let's go and get it. It says, from James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Greetings to all Yahweh's people scattered over the whole world. My friends, it says faith and wisdom. My friends, consider yourselves fortunate when all kind of trials come your way. For you know when your faith succeeds in facing such trials, the result is the ability to endure. Beautiful. It says, make sure that your endurance carries you all the way without failing, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. But if any of you lack wisdom, you should pray to Yahweh Ba'al Shai, who will give it to you, because Yahweh gives generously and graciously to all. But when you pray, you must believe and not doubt at all. Whoever doubts is like a wave in the sea that is driven and blown about by the wind. If you are like that, unable to make up your mind and undecided in all you do, you must not think that you will receive anything from the Lord. Boom. You got it. Hey, man, you got it. You got to believe. You got to believe. You got to pray. You got to believe. You got to believe. You got to believe and pray. All right? Praying with faith. Faith is belief. All right? So you have to pray with belief. Okay, now let's get 1 Thessalonians 5 and 17. It's a shorter one. It'll probably just say pray without stopping. It says pray at all times. Right? Pray at all times. There you go. So let's go ahead and get Matthew 21. All right, Matthew 21 and 22. There we go. It's locked in. Had it. Messed it up. So this is Matthew 21 and 22. It says, and all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. Pretty straightforward. In all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. Now let's go and get that over here. Okay. It says, if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Of course, within reason. If you ask for $1 million, the Lord's not going to give you no $1 million. You don't need that. Okay. But, things that you need, all right, or need help with, the Lord will give you. But you have to believe, all right? If you believe, you will receive whatsoever, if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. You ask for healing, you have to believe, and you'll get it. You ask for faith, you believe, and you'll get it. You ask for, you'll barely be able to pay the rent, or, you need some money because it's food or something. You believe, you pray, you'll receive it, okay? That's how it goes. But you have to believe, you have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to believe. You have to have faith. You have to believe. You have to have faith. Remember, faith is belief. Okay? And it's deeper than just that, but it is belief at the end of it. Okay, and you don't want to fall into the slot of an unbeliever because you're doubting. All right, lacking faith, not having faith. You don't want to fall into the role of an unbeliever. All right, or a scoffer because doubt. All right, because you're doubting. You don't want that. All right, that's a terrible position to be. You don't want none of that, man. So you have to believe when you pray. All right, you have to pray with faith. Okay, you have to pray with faith. There's no exceptions. Okay, if you pray without faith, you won't receive what you're asking for. All right, and in that case, why are you even praying? All right, because if you don't trust in the Lord, why would you even pray? Right? It doesn't make sense. So let's go and get Mark 11 and 24. Then we're going to basically close out after that. Just a shorter little lesson today. And let's go ahead and get it right here. Mark 11 and 24. It says, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. All right, and finally, we got to go and get this over in the Good News Translation. It says, for this reason I tell you, when you pray and ask for something, believe that you have received it, and you will be given whatever you ask for. Once again, in the KJV, all right, the King James Version, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when you pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11 and 24, right? So you got to pray with faith, man. It's hard. Of course, you're going to have those doubt demons we mentioned popping up in this lesson. All right, you just got to rebuke them and get them off you, man. And, that's pretty much it, man. You just got to pray with faith. You got to believe, all right? You got to believe that the Lord's going to help you out. Nobody wants to help anybody out that's doubting them, okay? You're asking somebody to paint your walls, you're probably going to mess it up. You probably won't even do a good job. That person's not going to want to help you, man. All right? And it goes the same with the Lord, all right? The Lord's not going to want to help you if you're doubting his ability to do so, okay? Why would you help someone who's doubting you? Nobody wants to do that. So that's been the lesson. With that, we're going to go ahead and close out. Remember, pray with faith. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.